Welcome to DarkSideAdventures, an 18 and older, not safe for work podcast where we explore the dark side of sex, the world of kink, fetish, and BDSM lifestyle. Yeah! Dark Side Adventures, man, episode, golly, I can't keep up now. What is this, like episode 24, 25, something like that?
I honestly have no clue. I know we figured it out last week, but do I remember?
No. Oh, goodness. Man, guys, welcome back. We are your hosts. Of course, I am Edwin.
I'm Coco.
Man, and welcome back to Dark Side Adventures, giving you all of your kink BDSM, even just doing everything different as far as whenever it comes to the kink community. So, oh man, like, where do we even start? I don't even think we. What is this? What special day is today? I'm skipping over words.
Hang on. I hung up my calendar so I could finally see it. And is it close enough for me to see on my computer? No. So hang on.
Yeah. Even got glasses on and she's blind. Well, while Coco is doing that, just kind of give you guys a quick update. So we do have the TikTok stuff coming. We have finally completed the main mission for TikTok, which was to just basically get a few backlogged. We are working right now on the visuals for that.
Happy National Moscato Day.
Oh, for the one. I'll come back to the TikTok reference, but yes, happy Moscato Day. Man, like, every time I drink Moscato, it's always a good time, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's just the taste or whatnot, and usually I'm not even one for wine. So
I love wine, but it's true. Moscato, because it's such an easy wine to drink, because it's so sweet, it definitely brings a great time for everyone.
Oh man, yeah, I just like the flavor of it. I mean, maybe I'm more of like a flavored wine drinker. Like, I mean, I've heard of like different types of wines. Like one of them, the Shiraz. What is it? You got your Pinot Grigio, you got your Pinot Noirs, you got your, oh man, like the list goes on and on. And which is funny because like I worked at like many bars and you would think I'd remember the wine selection. And nope, I just remember the beers. I could name hundreds of beers just because I'm a beer connoisseur. But anyway, happy Moscato Day, everybody.
I'm the other way around. I can't name you beers, and I can name like some mixed drinks, but I can name a ton of wines, which is really sad because I was a bartender for many, many years. And if it's not in the name, like a Jack and Coke or even a Screwdriver, I don't remember how to make it. I have to Google it. I'll be honest with you.
I guess you just have to be like, constantly drinking it. It's like a weekend going out thing. Well, regardless, it still tastes good going down. It all does the same job. Trying to get drunk, we'll make it happen. Oh,
it's just a matter of how drunk and how fast you want it to happen.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's probably why I stopped day drinking like that a long time ago. I mean, if I day drink, like I'll definitely day drink at home. It'll be like a couple beers over like a span of a couple hours. But man, like going out, getting plastered during the day, coming home, wake up, doing it all over again just to go out. Oh God, like.
Not worth it. I've never been a fan of that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Back in the day, that shit was crazy, but it definitely hurt the next day. We've got better. Adulting's much more relaxed and a lot more fun.
Agreed. Speaking of adulting, what's been going on in your adult life?
Oh man,
good segue, right?
Yeah, a very good segue. I don't know. I say I don't know, but there's a lot of stuff always going on in his head. So, God, where should I even start? So, as you all know, like I still do the audiobooks things. I just really haven't had the motivation, I would say, to read any more audiobooks. I kind of started one, and I'm kind of in and out of it. I'll give y'all the title later. I can't even remember right now. Yeah, right. That's how it's like just
really
Yeah.
taxing.
What else? Work has been going well. Um, yeah,
Good.
it's much better. I got poked in the eye like last Sunday, like playing basketball.
Oh, I thought you were like at work, and I was like, with
Oh
what?
no, I got poked in the eye playing basketball. So like Tuesday, I was basically driving with one eye all week or well all day, and then finally like I woke up on Wednesday, which is like a meeting day, and I was like, I'm not about to drive with one eye today. So I just called my manager, and I mean, I could have like called my manager in the middle of like Tuesday, but I didn't want to be a little bitch. But I was like, fuck it, I'm already out here. You know what I mean? So I ended up staying home on Wednesday, and it was kind of nice to recoup a little bit. And
I wondered why you were off, but did I ask?
no,
No.
but I was doing work though. You bet I was doing some work. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so besides that, um, like some of the YouTubes that like I watched, like I guess it almost I wouldn't even call it offensive to most people, but they could take it the wrong way very easily. And one of my favorites YouTubers, he's always talking about like purpose, like just kind of like being on your purpose, like every day, kind of like chipping away at the mountain. Um, and the more and more like I think about the things that I gotta do day to day, like the more almost like anxiety it builds, but almost the more like willpower it builds at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the other YouTubers that I watch. He kind of gave me a quote from somebody else, but it was saying that like men drive straighter with like a heavier load, so they're kind of like dump trucks, for instance. So I'm kind of feeling that now, just like everything besides like work. Like I mean, before like I was doing pest control, but now it's like what my manager calls big boy pest control. So yeah, so yeah,
Leveled
yeah.
up.
So dealing with that, and then like trying to do things with this show. Just trying to be as productive as possible with this show. This show is it I hold it very dear, and like I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. Like being on here, just being able to talk and give ideas or even perspectives, shit, even experiences that we have on here. It's it's nice, but also figuring out a way to get it to people so people hear it and can actually enjoy it is completely different. So doing it that way, like me and Coco, there's weeks where we'll be honest with you, like sometimes we're not able to record. Sometimes we got to record back to back days. Shit, sometimes we got to record twice in one day. There's just different things that we have to do. Obviously, like trying to work this into our daily lives. Plus, we have our own personal goals that we got to achieve outside of all that stuff. So there'll be
Mm-hmm.
days when me and Coco will hear each other back to back, and there'll be days when I won't even hear Coco until like the next week. So just
Yeah.
it just kind of happens like that. So um, it's just one of those things where I'm not even saying like I'm fighting with myself. It's just like I'm trying to figure out a way to take on as much burden as possible while still being able to be productive and get things the way they need to go. Because there's personal things that I want to accomplish by like next year, and so it's kind of like I'm having to be patient and also hustle at the same time. So anyway,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of in my life. What's been going on with you, Miss Coco?
So excited. I did not work 70 hours this week. Um, I barely hit overtime, which was amazing. I used the air quotes here extra time that I had been working the past couple weeks to catch up on my sleep and reset and like rejuvenate because I was feeling very, very mentally drained and exhausted. So that's what I've been doing. I've been um, recovering this week, I guess, for better lack of better words. I got a little bit crafty, and Edwin's been saying he's wanted a planner for a while. So last week I told him I would buy him one, but he liked my disc bound one, and all of the ones I could find were very, very feminine, and he didn't want Disney princesses or Mickey Mouse. So I had all of the stuff, so I just made him one. So I'm gonna finish the cover up this week. He said he wanted superheroes, so it's happening. It is happening,
I'll take it.
and I'll get it out to him. So I was gonna go hiking this week, and it was beautiful, beautiful weather like this weekend, and I didn't. Should have, but I didn't.
Just didn't feel
So
like it.
just didn't feel like it. I made it because of I didn't work as much this week. I did end up at the gym a couple times around the same time as the trainer, and he had a few free spots, so I picked up a few one-on-ones, and we did lower body and we did abs. And I was like, yeah, this is fine. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. Well, trying to sneeze today and yesterday made me want to cry a little bit. So, that means it was a good workout. Second day soreness is always the
Yes, it is.
worst, but I think I've kind of crested over the hill of ouchies just in time for me to start going back to the gym
That's how it
tomorrow.
always is. Oh man, the
Uh,
pain's gone. Out back at it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. Yeah, nothing too exciting, nothing too strenuous, but it was really exciting for me to have a not so crazy hectic week.
See, that's nice getting a little break. Break up the monotony.
Yes.
Well, it's been quite the times for both of us, but it's kind of nice that we check in with each other, at least every week to kind of see what's been going
Yeah.
on. Obviously, there's smaller gaps in days sometimes, but still good enough.
But a lot can happen in 2 or 3 days.
Truth. Oh man. Well, I guess we should kind of go into what we are talking about tonight.
Tonight we are talking about social media and kink and how those interact and how to appropriately interact on social media while being kinky.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about it before, and consent is huge. Huge, you guys. You need to have consent from everybody in order to have a scene. And I know there's people out there that are like, well, like, especially if you're going to do something in public, and social media is public, the internet is public. And I know a lot of people are like, well, it's my kink, it's mine, it's just us, but everyone else is seeing it too. And did they consent to it? No. So it's definitely something you have to tread lightly on. And you have to tread appropriately on. So we thought this would be a good one to cover.
Yeah, agreed.
We've got 3 points we wanted to touch on and expound upon. The first one, I think, is probably the most appropriate. What am I trying to say? I don't know, but here's the first one. It's where. Are there specific kink websites? Are there and how to do it? So, do you want to take a stab at it first, Edward?
Yeah. This is man. I was actually really waiting for this episode like a long time ago. I really wanted this to kind of be one of the very first ones, but I'm glad that we waited this long. So where, right? First we need to start on what are you looking for? Are you trying to date? Are you trying to learn? Are you trying to
show off?
show off? Are you trying to get ideas? Where? So if we're talking about kink and we're not talking about sex or pern, as I kind of give it a little slang there. If we're just talking about, well, actually, let's just start how we would start, right? Learning, right? Where would you start to learn? There's a couple places. First, you can, like we always say, just do your own research. We're always saying that, and you can just kind of Google for everything. But there's lots of places online that give you what
or
Bing, yeah.
I've talked about it before. Bing typically gives me better results, especially if you are looking for how did you sling it?
Yeah. Oh, Pern.
Oh, Pern.
Yeah,
Pern.
Pern. So yeah, that's. I mean, like we said, Google or Bing if you're looking up how to. Other places when we start actually talking about social media sites, you can start with Facebook. Facebook is a great place to. I mean, you're already on it. Most people are already on it. Millions of users. If you just join a group or even join a page, some pages are open. You can click on them. They'll give you. Some of them will give you quotes. Some of them will give you motivation. Some of them will give you tips, kinks for the day. So that's a good place to start. And we've already talked about learning the lingo, which at that point hopefully you had. And so at least a lot of the memes or whatever it is make a lot of sense to you. Other places like that, kind of like following the path of like joining the groups and joining with people, especially whenever it comes to social media. I mean, there's websites like um, FetLife, which we've kind of all talked about. I would probably say FetLife would be more for the it'd be right in between like intermediate and entry, just because you can end up being pulled into places that you might not want to be pulled if you don't really know what you're looking for or what you're doing. But FetLife is a great place to just kind of see an ecosystem, and what I mean by that is, uh, whenever you go into FetLife, there's places where people can share pictures, right? They can share videos, they can share poetry, and even some of their writings. Like you'll see a lot of people on there, writing about their different types of kinks or experiences, stuff like that. They'll be, you know, uh, I wouldn't necessarily call.
There's all sorts of different people on there too. You get masters and slaves, you get 24/7, you get play partners, you get people who only play in the bedroom, people who do solo play, poly, mono. Um, you get porn stars, you get people who like to show off, you get who are there to learn, you get you get fakes, of course, you get people who are new, you get people who have been in the lifestyle for almost more years than I've been alive.
Mhm.
Um, it it's such a melting pot of people that you can find a lot of things on there.
Agreed. And I mean, the good thing about social media now in this day and age is you are one, you are almost like a next door neighbor to a celebrity being online. And what I mean by that is, like, say somebody is big into a specific industry, right? And they have a page. Well, it's easy for you to click through social media, get on their page, and maybe even be able to contact them, for different things. Like there's many people that I've seen on FetLife go from just being a person posting all of a sudden to being in, some of the bigger perm industry places. And that's just from FetLife. So you can kind of see how things can
Mhm.
go from 0 to 60 real quick. Um, just by even being in like what we would like to call a niche industry, which I mean, kink is kind of like that, but kind of going forward as well, other places to meet people. So that's a good place to kind of like see how things work inside of the ecosystem. Other places is, I mean, you can go through, Twitter. That's other places. You can go through some of the dating websites. Dr. Payne talked about how he met um, Princess off of Tinder, surprisingly. So you can use things like that to your advantage. Um, Reddit, surprisingly, Reddit has a huge community in there just of different things. Yeah,
Huge.
and so that's
And they're pretty welcoming to new people too.
very true. And there's a lot of questions, which at some point, me and Coco get to maybe like a little question and answer on some of those posts that they have on there, because people out here really do need help. And as you can see, if you're one of those people that have been there, or maybe this thing has recently happened to you, it's a great place where you can go and also help others. So um, that's that's just kind of like the entry level to intermediate. Now, if you're talking about like advanced, like I'm talking about like adult, and it starts almost creeping into that pern area. Everybody's kind of searching for OnlyFans, which is another one. Which surprisingly, OnlyFans isn't all just uh, uh, banging, finger banging, and other things as well. Uh,
Well, OnlyFans started out more as like a
it did.
Patreon, and then it has, because of the way their terms of service is written out, it became easier for those who are in the sex industry and who want to be in the sex industry to it was easier for them and better for them to use OnlyFans than it was for Patreon.
True. And at this point, you can kind of, if you're looking to maybe be an exhibitionist, or maybe into voyeurism as well, that's maybe when you kind of start getting into the cam ecosystems, which OnlyFans can also fall into. There's different spots where, like I said, you can make your own ecosystem. So like, ChatterBait, you can do something with Tumblr. I know Tumblr is usually just for posts, and you can, I mean, it's appropriate altogether, but there are explicit content in there, and you can start your own page and have explicit content. You can post your own stuff, your own videos, your own audio if need be, and your own writing. So kind of like you can with FetLife, but it's almost more of a website particular to you than just a.
It's more of, I liken it to Instagram.
Yeah, I could see that.
So Instagram is very difficult and cracks down a lot on sexual or explicit posting. And so a lot of people find it a lot easier to go with Tumblr.
Yeah. And if you're looking for something kind of like Tumblr, on the other side of that, there's a website called ShareSome. That's a lot more explicit, but if you've already crossed that line and you're kind of diving into that realm, that's another place. And then, of course, there's the other websites, Adult Friend Finder. There's Ashley Madison, places like that to kind of find different things. And then if you're, I should probably say this without saying it, if you're going to dive into the sex worker industry. Thank you. I didn't want to say the other word. I didn't want to say the P word, guys. You know what I'm talking about. Give them a little bit more respect than that. So if you want to dive into the sex worker realm, I mean, there's the cheaper paid, which is like, you can go into like a strip club and, just kind of talk with people there, or, if you end up working something like that, that's its own community as well. Or you can do the online community, which was what we're kind of talking about, social media. So there's, places like, Eros, which is one. I mean, people used to have things off of Craigslist, Backpage, different places like that. So you start kind of diving deeper into the realm, you'll find different things. So, all right, hopefully I gave a decent end to end there.
You sure did. Just a couple things. FetLife is also really good. They have a lot of groups. FetLife can be hard to navigate sometimes, but there is a way you can find a lot of local groups. If you search your area, it'll help. And that's how you can even find groups on there that will lead you to like chat room groups with other Kinksters. That's actually how I found the group that Edwin and I met in. Back then, Kik was all the rage, and I think Kik is still going. They just have ads on it now. I don't use Kik anymore.
Yeah,
but
nobody does.
I know some people who still do. But people would post, here's our Kik group. Discord has become really big. So now it's like, here's our Discord group, here's our Telegram group. And that gives you I find it easier to chat with people in a group like that than I do in like a Facebook group. I'm a part of a few Facebook groups, and it's one of the few things I use Facebook for. But I do find it easier in a chat-based setting. Another really good place for learning and for tutorials. They're actually from an adult toy website, but if you look up XRU University, it's Extreme Restraint University. They did like a video blog or a video podcast, and Aiden Starr and who's the co-host? I'll Google it and I'll look it up. But they're both in the sex industry, in the BDSM side of the video industry, and they go into very in-depth details of how to. They give some really good how-to videos, and they've touched on a lot of things, and they will, you can either listen to it or they do have a video and they will walk you through how to do it. They've done things from impact to edging to milking to female orgasms to like all over the spectrum. Nipple torture, all sorts of things. And so I think if you want a very in-depth how to, I want to watch somebody else do it and walk me through it, they're a really good one. So that's definitely one I suggest and one I like quite a lot. I'm Googling here who it is because
forgetting these host names.
I am. And they bring in quite a few of their coworkers who enjoy these things because they're both Ian Rath.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Ian Rath and Aiden Starr. They're both typically tops. Well, they both are tops. And so they will bring in bottoms to help walk you through that.
I'll have to reach out to them.
You sure could. So those are a couple sites that you hadn't mentioned that I would, or a couple things about sites that I would throw out there. I know XRU really isn't social media, but if we're talking about learning from online, that's another great place to go. So the next topic is how to appropriately post on social media, and like displaying kink on social media, because there's a lot of different. I guess it depends on which place you're posting. FetLife, it's a go for it. Anything you want to post, you post it. But a place like Facebook depends on your friends. It's not always the place to be posting a picture of you in your collar and lead as your Facebook profile pictures. So there are appropriate ways to post on social media and more inappropriate ways to post on social media. And this goes back to the whole, do you have everybody else's consent for that? It is really hard, and we know this is kind of a touchy subject for a lot of people, but it's definitely one we want to bring up. So, do you want to talk a little bit on it, Edwin, or do you want me to continue?
Oh no, I figured you were about to start going in, so I was just waiting. But now
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to go in without climbing on my soapbox. So I may let you start for a minute.
I was here. We wouldn't mind you on a soapbox. It's been a while.
It has been a while. It has been a while.
I'm gonna first start by saying this. You need to respect the platform. I know that's something that's not normally always said. Respect the platform. It's usually like, well, I'm here, I'm gonna do what I want, within reason. It's like, of course, within that reason. These platforms make it to where you can express yourself without offending. All right. You get online. Let's just put it this way, right? I don't have any kids, but if I did have kids, my child goes on Facebook, right? He's just kind of sorting through. He's saying hi, hey grandma, it's good to see you with your little post and your new flowers. Hey Auntie Joe, we see you in a little Sparky, arf. And then all of a sudden he scrolls down and he sees Becky, who is the next door neighbor's daughter, with her ass cheeks clapping to the brand new let's just say Drake beat. And at first you're like, okay, all right, she's not. It's just one time, hopefully my son doesn't, or my child doesn't, think about that, right? Well, 2 days later, all of a sudden you see Becky in a skimpy outfit for OnlyFans. At some point you're like, okay, you should already know if you're going to do anything like that, just go ahead and get a separate profile, which is what I was going to say. Get a separate profile, make it to where it is just, I wouldn't want to say a persona, but it is the other you. The more I don't want to say disrespectful, the more inappropriate you. How about that? So you can have one for your family and one for your other business uh, eh, uh, business adventures is is what I was going to say. But the point I was trying to make with the whole Facebook thing is you need to put things where they're supposed to be. So obviously, like I said, if you realize that your main Facebook is more family oriented than it is kink oriented, then leave it that way. If you want to have a kink oriented, profile and whatnot, we'll do that on a separate profile and then leave that out of your separate life. Because when you start putting the two together, it starts making things really, really tricky for you. And the problem with that altogether nowadays is, you'll just be trying to, say Instagram, and Instagram is just kind of bad for it. Is you'll be on Instagram just looking up, pretty pictures, and all of a sudden, like you said, you see some ass shaking or, some, I'm not trying to put them on blast, but, something from like, let's say Suicide Girls or something like that, where it just kind of pops up and you're like, oh, this wasn't what I was expecting. And that's what I mean by it has to be appropriate for the platform and what you're actually looking to do. Um, that's where I'm going to start with that.
Well, it's about knowing your audience. We, especially in the kink community, want to be 1000% sure we are not going to be exposing any minors to this. Anyone over the age of 18, like anyone under the age of consent, should not be exposed to this. And Facebook is one of those places where it is likely that you are either friends with, or it'll be exposed to somebody who is under the age of consent. And, at that point, depending on what it is, like that could spell out a lot of trouble for you. So that's just something to think about. Know your audience. My family knows I'm kinky. They all do. In fact, a handful of my siblings listen to the podcast. And so, yeah, I don't hide that. But I also know, especially on Facebook, that my nieces and nephews get on and scold their parents' Facebook. And so I'm not going to post anything on there that could be strewn as inappropriate if they were to come across it. Now, if your Facebook is entirely adults and you don't hide it and that's what you want to post, sure, that may be more appropriate for your profile, but you need to know your audience and where you're posting. Just like there's an appropriate time and place for everything. I love skimpy outfits. I have no problem showing off any part of my body. I have no problems with doing things in public, but it's all about knowing your audience, and it's all about knowing who could be exposed to it. To liken it unto, I think I've told this story before, but Master and I went to a movie theater once, and it was just me and him for quite a long while because we got there pretty early. I think he always shows up to a movie at least 15 minutes early, like 15 minutes before the trailers even start. So we were sitting in there waiting. We were like, oh, it's going to be empty. It's going to be empty. And I turned to him and I was like, so do I get to suck your cock if it's empty? And he's like, yeah. Well, then we were sitting in the very back, but then two teenagers came in and sat at the front. And no, they weren't likely to turn around and see us. But there was still that possibility that they could turn around and see us, and they were underage. They were hovering on that cusp where they may have been underage, they may not have been underage. So on that point, you need to play on the safety of it, of keeping yourself safe and out of legal trouble rather than doing the thing that you wanted to do.
Mm.
So there are places on Facebook you can post and be within their terms of service. You can be as risque as you want. There are groups, there are BDSM groups, there are sex positive groups, there are groups to show off.
Mm-hmm.
By all means, those are private. They have been vetted as well as possible to keep minors out. And by all means, post your pictures there because that'll keep those private from the kids around you
Mm-hmm.
and from those who don't want it.
Yeah, not everybody is kinky. I mean, I'm sure everybody has kinks, but not everybody is kinky.
And not everybody is a voyeur and wants to see your kinks.
Exactly. Some people get freaked out of, different things. Like you show them some, whips, chains, and just other things from your kinky bag, and all of a sudden they're looking at you like you spawn demons out the earth, type thing. So kink is like we're just saying, like kink has its place, so you just have to respect that place and how you do it as well. One of the favorite ones right now, obviously, is TikTok. The way that they're doing it, where obviously it's not raunchy. A lot of it isn't. They're just kind of talking you through, different things about, kink subjects or different things in their kink lives. A lot of what I've seen and even what Coco's posted, because we have that in our Discord. Like everybody's just trying to give out good information. Now, not all of it is displayed and portrayed in the best way, but
not all appropriate.
Yeah,
there's a Kink Talk battle going on about the appropriateness of a few things.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, as long as your clothes are on and you're talking about it, I kind of see you in an instructor light. So, that's always positive. Now it starts to get a little too risque whenever you start seeing things come off. But I mean, I'm all for it. There was like, what was it? The Dommy challenge. There was the Dom challenge. There was the submissive challenge. There was many challenges where some people took their clothes off and some people left their clothes on. But I mean, the challenges, I would say you kind of get some leeway. But if it's just a normal thing, then you kind of got to watch yourself a little bit.
One thing to note on what Edwin said is we've talked about vetting your partners before, but make sure you vet the people who are educating you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Find out their experience, find out how their status in the community, talk to them about it, know them well and vet them well before, including us, vet them well before you just take what they say as kink truth. There is, for example, like I said, there's a war going on about a Kink Talk war about the appropriateness of one of the Kink Talk posters displaying how to do breath play in 60 seconds. And I am of the opinion that is not something you can be instructed on in 60 seconds. That is definitely something more serious than just learning how to give a spanking or something in 60 seconds. There's a lot more going on with him. And that battle, I know if you're in Kink Talk, you will know what's going on. Follow the hashtag. I think it's Beauty or Beast in the Bell and the Beast, something along that line, and you'll find out more about it. But there are accusations of abuse, and this person who touts himself as an educator and as this great dom, there's abuse allegations, there's allegations of him not listening to safe words, of him telling his submissives that because they are in the adult video industry, him telling his submissives that they can't safe word unless they need to go to the hospital because they can't sell videos. There's a lot more to it. His survivors are starting to talk out about it. So vet, please please vet all of your educators, all of your partners, because it's so important.
Great. And that was a swinger right there.
I know that was a swinger, and that I wasn't going to bring it up, but then you mentioned educators, and that is because that is a big part of Kink Talk right now. I just felt that needed to be said.
Well, you want to go ahead with the number 3 topic?
Yes, and it that leads right us into number 3. Actually, the difference between pornography and awareness and education in social media.
Okay. Whew. What I kind of said this before, but it's the way the information is being portrayed. So if you're giving me a BDSM lecture, but your top is off and you're wearing a G-string, or you're a gentleman and you're wearing like one of those bellboy outfits with the tie, but you kind of got like the little banana hammock going on, then you're teaching me about kink. That's not really appropriate, depending on where you're putting it. So if you're putting it on, let's say somewhere like, like we said, like Facebook, or you put it on somewhere like, Instagram or something. Well, people might not, depending on what they're looking for, people might not find that appropriate for the platform. Now, if you were kind of doing the same thing, and let's say you were on FetLife doing it, or you were on, like I was saying, share some,
Pornhub or OnlyFans
yeah,
or
something like that.
share some.
Chatterbait, something like that. Then okay, that's that's understandable because it's kind of it's appropriate for that.
Again, know your
Yeah, knowing
audience.
your audience. And like what we're doing. I mean, obviously you can't see us, but we have our clothes on. I just want to let you guys know we have our clothes on and
Coco's in pants and slippers and a long sleeve shirt.
repping. But no, we're at least giving you the information and not in a non-sexual fashion to where it's easy, it's approachable. It's something that you can relate to right off the bat. Versus if we were on TikTok, half naked, trying to give you this information, but it's appropriate. You can do this at work. Basically, if it's not safe for work, you can kind of deem it not appropriate for the most part. So if you can watch it at work without any issues, or and watching, not necessarily listening, to some degree, then I would deem it more appropriate. But anything you want to throw in there?
Going back to TikTok, if they have these things called thirst traps, or they're doing nerd traps, where it starts off a thirst trap, somebody starts off kind of I guess I would use the word frumpy, and then they do this like jump transition, and then it becomes provocative. So a lot of men will do it. They're in like sweatpants and this huge baggy shirt, and they kind of like hunch in on themselves and like their hoods up and they're not. And then they do this transition, and all of a sudden they're showing off this great body, and they have like their hair done, and they give this smoldering look. There's your difference between your awareness and education and what's become pornography. Yes, it is definitely softcore. Not many people would consider it pornography, but it is meant to be erotic. So that's your difference between the awareness and education and the pornography if you need a visual for it. So your awareness and education isn't meant to be erotic.
Mm-hmm.
It's meant to point things out to you. It's meant to teach you things. It's meant to help you continue to grow and move forward. Whereas pornography, although sexy,
Mm-hmm.
is meant to stimulate an orgasm
Mm-hmm.
or sexual
Yeah, I'm
feelings.
about to say sexual feelings or turn-ons. No, I agree. Um, so all in all, just be careful the way that you're putting out the information. If you're wanting it to be erotic, put it in the right places for it to be erotic, and for the right people to see it. They're always saying know your audience, and that's really the biggest thing.
This leads us to our final remarks. Do you mind if I go first tonight?
Oh, please.
My final remarks on this is just, as with anything in life, is to be respectful and gain consent. without that, like being disrespectful without being disrespectful just because you can be is not a great trait. And it leads to a lot of negativity and to a lot of things that could have been prevented. So know your audience and be respectful to that audience. And that's my last words.
No, agreed. You kind of summed up most of it. To be honest with you, people have lost careers, lost or shattered reputations by putting things in the wrong places. So you just have to be careful the way that you're putting out your information, because I mean it's all good and dandy. Let's say you're putting out spicy photos of yourself on the internet, but what happens when that gets back to you at work? Stuff like that, where you kind of got to be careful where you're putting it. If you're putting it in a place where a lot more people are kinky, okay, well, no harm, no foul there. You put it in a place where it's supposed to be, versus you taking that and you putting it in your work, the work community chat or something like that, where it's like, check out my Friday night. It's like, all right, you already know you're putting yourself in the wrong position. So respect where you're putting it, and just be smart about it.
Smart about it. Know what you're doing.
No, that's it. Yeah, really. That's realistically it. Oh man. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and I will run these shameless plugs, because man, there's a lot coming. So like I was talking about earlier while Coco had gotten up, TikTok is coming soon. We're just trying to add the little bits to it, maybe, and so we're excited for that. Of course, guys, you can find us just about everywhere. You can find us on Deezer. Man, you can find us on Apple. You could find us on Spotify. You can find us on, of course, Podbean. That's a guarantee. Man, we're also on Twitter as DarkSideAdventures. Oh man, the list keeps going on and on. If you need anything, if you want to send us any topics, you got any questions, concerns, you want to reach out, you need somebody to kind of consult you through a scene or something that's happened, we're here for you. Hell, if you even want to be on the show, you can reach us at our DarkSideAdventures@gmail.com. Guys, we're literally everywhere. We're trying to do more and more, and guys, come support us. For everybody who is currently supporting, when I tell you, like, yeah, of course, you can't see my hands with it together right now. We appreciate you guys. Like, y'all are doing us a solid. If we're even if we're reaching somebody and we're even making a small difference in somebody's lives, like, that's really just, honestly, it's worth it. So we don't know everything, but we're learning just as much as you guys are, and we're kind of giving our own personal experiences as well. So, Coco, anything else?
Just remember to subscribe, and share any interaction you guys do with us. Help spread the word.
Mm-hmm.
So I am super excited to put out the new things on TikTok. And all of the other media that we are working on, all the other surprises we are working on for you all. I can't wait until we are able to share those with you guys.
Agreed. Man, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait, guys.
Yes. So yeah, reach out to us. Apple, Spotify, email our DarkSideAdventures@gmail.com. YouTube. I think you hit them all, but I just thought I'd put them out there again. We're also on Reddit and Twitter, like you said. We are thinking about doing an Instagram. You guys let us know if we should, or if we should just get better at posting social media as is. But yeah, I think that wraps up another Dark Side Adventures episode.
It does. Well, of course, guys, we are your hosts. I'm Edwin.
I'm Coco.
And we'll see you guys next time on Dark Side Adventures.
Adios.
Bye.